Hi, everyone. Hello, happy Monday. So if you've never met me before, hi, my name's Deborah Lee Smith. I'm an actor, a filmmaker, and a mental health advocate. And normally I am coming to you from Los Angeles, but I'm actually on a shoot right now, so I'm traveling. So please let me know in the comments if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know how you're doing today. Let's just do a quick little check-in and see how everyone is doing. I'll let you guys know I am doing pretty good. I have a day off today, which is lovely. So everyone, let me know how it is going for you. Give me thumbs ups. Give me like sideways, thumbs down. Let's see. I do have some regulars that usually 50-50. Yeah, so this is my mental health organization, More Than You See. How are you feeling? What is let me know more about your 50-50. Hi Nance. So, that's okay. Hi Kenny from the UK. Lovely to see you. Hi everyone. So if you guys have never done one of these check-ins with me before, just so you know, hi Elias, lovely to see you again. So today's topic is going to be about self-love, actually, and we will kind of get there in a moment. So yeah, how is everyone doing, Kenny? 1 second. Hi, Adam from the UK. Hi, G from the UK. A lot of people from the UK. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I am, like I said at the beginning of this, I am usually in Los Angeles, but right now I am on a film shoot, and I'm actually on my day off today. So hello, everyone. Hi, Emily. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Claire. Hi, Marta. Hi, everyone. It's so lovely to see you guys again. Okay, so we're gonna dive in a moment, but I just wanted to do a quick check-in, and I really appreciate everyone being so open and vulnerable with me right now. So we're gonna do a couple check-ins, and I'm gonna address some of those comments here. Jenny. Hi from Orange County. So Jenny, you say that you have some anxiety that starts swirling in the evening. I'm a young 60 and made the decision to retire last month due to anxiety and a little bit of depression. Work stress got to be too much. I'm trying to handle the still present anxiety in life. Thank you so much. What are you doing right now that you are retiring? I would love to know that, because I think that it's really important to find some things that light you up even when you're not working. I think that's one of the things that's really beneficial with work, is that it gives you a lot of happiness and love in life. And when you don't have something to focus on like that, I think that it can provide you with some extra stress. So I would love with your time, Jenny. Hi, Nancy from Pennsylvania, near Philly. And Adam. So Adam, say that you have depression and work-based anxiety. I would love to know a little bit more about what's going on there, Adam. Is that because of your, is it specifically because of COVID, or is this something that you have struggled with for a while? I would love to know some more about that. Saratoga Springs, New York. Thanks everyone for the check-ins. This is wonderful. I absolutely love checking in with you guys. I actually missed the last time that I had one of these check-ins with you all because, as I said, I'm on a film shoot right now, and this last time I was unable to do this. So I'm really very grateful that I'm able to be here with you all. Um, so I want to talk today about self-love. That's what I'm going to get into. And one of the reasons I want to talk about this is because May right now is Mental Health Month. We are, it's 17 days into Mental Health Month, which is very, very important. It's a very important month, but I think that it's so important to also focus on the idea that mental health is something that we should be focusing on all of the time, not just in May. And that is one of the things that I want to chat with you all today. So I really appreciate everyone doing that check-in with me, letting me know how, like, where you guys are, because then we can address this together. So this is a collaboration, this is a conversation, and I really love everyone checking in with me and giving me comments and all those kinds of things. As I said before, so I am an actor, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a mental health advocate. I also have a podcast called More Than You See, in which I talk about non-traditional mental health resources that basically are things that can um, help you through different mental health struggles. And so I'm really excited to chat with you all today. So Nurum, I cannot say your name, Pama. That is such a cool name. Um, it is your birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. You've had depression and anxiety for 18 years. Mechanical engineer, quit the workforce due to mental illness in 2018. I've actually worked in construction as an engineering surveyor, and I understand, in some degree, the stress and anxiety that comes from working in that kind of industry. So I really am grateful that you've come and shown up for us today. Um, As you have depression and anxiety due to chronic pain and childhood trauma. Um, I mean, Marta, I think that one of the things that is so important to address with mental health is the fact that childhood trauma affects all of us, even if it's something that is not a traumatic event. Our childhood still has such a huge impact on who we are, and the way that it impacts our life. So thank you for speaking to that today. And I think that I'm curious if you have a therapist or someone that you are working through that kind of stuff with, because I think that it's really important. I know that my therapist has really helped me through my own childhood trauma, and that's been the biggest, most important thing when it has come to my own uh, struggle with mental health, and working through that. Of course, the Mighty has put up the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. This is specifically for the US, but if you are struggling with suicidal thoughts, please reach out to someone. I think that's really important. Okay, so Adam says, I've been bullied since I was a kid, and it's continued into your work life. Your depression stems from being bullied in your childhood and having low self-esteem. I mean, first of all, Adam, I'm so sorry to hear that. I think that oftentimes we get bullied because people are like, it's really about them. It's not actually about us. Like, they have their own things that they're struggling through, and so they to put that on others. I know that I've really struggled with being bullied as well. That was something that was a huge part of my life as a child, and it's something that I still kind of struggle with sometimes. But I think the thing that has helped me the most, and I don't know if this will help you at all, is to, whenever I get picked on or get put into a situation where I feel like I'm being treated unkindly, I kind of look at that situation and look at that person, and kind of think, like, what's going on in their life that's causing them to cause me harm, and what can I like, how can I just support myself, period? And whether that is I put up boundaries with that person, I put up boundaries with that work situation, like, what can I do in order to protect myself? Because unfortunately, the only thing we really can do and protect is us. Anyone else, we really can't is uh, ideas around us are, and focus on what we ourselves feel. Andrea says that you need help, and no one in your family cares and downplay it. Um, you need meds, exercise, and therapy are not helping. First of all, I'm really sorry. Something that I talk about on my podcast all the time is the fact that there's a lot of different elements of mental health. There is, the people who you surround yourself with, that very much affects you. There is the chemical imbalances or balances in our brain. And that is what can be, helped by medication or, different things like that. And then there is the sociological aspects of our mental health, and that has to do with how we were taught from being children, like how we look when we look at ourselves in the mirror. A lot of the times we look at ourselves in the mirror, and the way that we think about ourselves is directly related to how our parents, taught us to talk to and think about ourselves. And that's often the thing that's really, really difficult to try and push through. And that is why I want to talk about self-love today, because I think self-love is the hardest thing to do. It is also the thing that is the most important when it comes to mental health. And so that's why I hope that something that I say today, Andrea, will help you get through this a little bit. Oh my goodness, so many comments today. I'm absolutely love this. I really, really appreciate this, you guys. And again, as I said, like, I've got a bunch of podcasts up already that address all sorts of different kinds of topics. So if something said resonates with you, I strongly suggest that you go check out my podcast, because there's a lot of really amazing things that I address there that I think will potentially help you in the future. So continuing on, so Jenny, going back to the things that you've brought you joy in the past: gardening, exercise, reading, working on the house, trying to stay busy. Anxiety is new to me. And okay, this is wonderful questions, Jenny. Thank you for bringing this up. Anxiety is new to me, so I don't know how to handle it. Therapy, maybe. How to pick a therapist. I love this. This is a wonderful question. First, I think that it's really important to address the fact that everyone is feeling more anxiety right now. It's not just you. It is partly because of the pandemic. It is partly because of now things going back into the real-ish world, like things, progressing back into what we knew as normal previously to this. So there's a lot of different things that are happening, and I think that it's really important to recognize that however you're feeling right now is totally valid and okay. And yeah, so I think that it's really important to recognize that, number one, because I know that sometimes I feel like I'm going down a spiral, or I feel like I'm anxious or depressed about something, and then I realize that that there's a lot of other things that I are out of my control right now, and that kind of makes me feel better, where I'm like, I'm feeling really anxious and depressed, but there's all of these very valid reasons for that. And whether, like, depression does not have to have a valid reason. Sometimes it's just what happens. But I still think that it's important to recognize that it's uh, that there is a lot going on right now, and we are all going through collective trauma. So that's number one. Number two, find a good therapist. Really quick. Number one, treat it like you're dating someone. It's really important to ask questions of that therapist. You are courting them the same way that they are courting you. They want to see if you guys are going to have a good rapport, if you're going to have a good relationship. And so it's really, really key to, talk to that therapist, just like you were trying to find a new friend or find a partner in some way, because they are a partner. And so it's really, if you actually go to my website, um, morethan-uc.com, I have a blog specific about how to find a therapist and some questions that you can ask a therapist when you are having a conversation with them. As far as how to find a therapist, of course, if you have health insurance, you could potentially go through your health insurance, ask them for their list of therapists that are under your health insurance. But I have often found, like my therapist personally, I actually found through a recommendation of a friend. Um, the kind of therapist that I wanted, the kind of therapy that I was looking for was not covered by insurance. And I am very grateful and privileged that I could find someone that was, I could find someone and be okay with um, talking to someone that insurance. And so that's how I found my therapist, was through a recommendation of a friend. I hope that is helpful. Oh my goodness, everyone, we have so many amazing comments today, you all. I'm like overwhelmed with love here. Okay. So I'm going to start just like picking a couple because there's so many incredible comments here. Okay, so Jessica says that she's had anxiety and depression as far as junior high. You've tried so many different methods that have not worked. Um, you are in a happy place in your life right now. That's wonderful that you've married a great man and you're now a stay-at-home mom. That's incredible, Jessica. I'm so happy to hear that. You do have chronic pain with injuries and migraines, and you've tried a lot of different therapists. I'm going to see if did you write anything else further down. It does not look like that. I So here we go. So Jessica, first of all, thank you for sharing that with me. I think that one of the things that I always talk about, and one of the things that I talked about on my podcast this week that came out today, was the idea that, you know, our what's it called? Like, our struggle with anxiety and depression often is not something that's just going to go poof and go away. I've had people before reach out to me on Instagram, which I'm always happy to chat to people on Instagram. But I've had people reach out to me on Instagram and say, like, how did you cure yourself? Or how are you, like, are you fixed? And the short answer is no, that's not ever going to be, like, me dealing with anxiety and depression is something that I know that I'm going to be dealing with for the rest of my life. It is just a part of me, and it's the importance of coming to terms with that and going, this is who I am. This is how I feel, and sometimes I have ups and sometimes I have downs, and a part of that's just a part of me, and that's just a part of my life. And I think that it's really important to find some beauty in the darkness, because it shows that you are alive. It shows that you are a person with complex feelings. And I think that there's something really beautiful about that. It's very difficult sometimes to address that and to think about the idea that there is, like, sure, sometimes I wish that I was just happy all the time. Like, that sounds in some way easier. But that isn't, number one, that's not who I am. And number two, I think that the darkness sometimes makes the happy points even brighter, and just reminds me that I am a complex person with a lot of different feelings, and I really love that about myself. So that's really what I want to talk about today, is the idea that we need to, like, dark sides of ourselves and, like, figure out how to love them, because this is us. This is who we are, and it's important to savor and protect and love ourselves as much as we possibly can. Um, Emily, thank you for saying that you struggle with loving yourself. I completely agree. I feel exactly the same. And so I think that it's really, um, it's really important. And this is why I really wanted to bring this up to everyone today, is because I feel like it's really difficult for me to love myself sometimes, and I think that we all feel this way. I mean, I just so you guys know what my view is here. Like I'm looking at everyone's comments right here, and I think that it's they're so it's so incredible to see how many people are sharing of themselves right now, and I think that that's really um really important to address the fact that you are not alone, because there's so many people here who are uh sharing of themselves, and I think that's really beautiful. Someone asked me, what my podcast is. Again, my podcast is called More Than You See. On my podcast, I address all sorts of different topics. I also have a very active Instagram where I share things. And I've got a lot of really incredible guests that I'm going to have on my podcast this season. So I strongly encourage you to check it out. And please let me know what you think. Share it with friends, all of that kind of stuff. So Marty says, am I still on meds? You want to get off of yours because you don't feel so goofy. Thank you for sharing that. You also say further along that you don't like the brain fog that goes along with meds. I would, obviously, Marty, I don't know your history and I don't know what is going on with that, but I think that it is really important to address the fact that there's different types of medications out there for anxiety, depression, OCD. Like there's the advancements in science when it comes to medication to help with mental health stuff is huge. And if whatever you are on is not working for you, I would strongly encourage you to talk to a doctor, because I bet that there is maybe a better medication um, out there for you. I think that it's really important for us to have a lot of control, and I cannot think of the word that I'm looking for. We're just going to go with control. I think that it's really important to have a lot of control over our bodies, and to be able to basically say, like, this isn't working for me, so therefore what can I do in order to advocate for yourself to find something that will work better. So I would ask you, Marty, is this something that you have talked to your doctor about? Because maybe there's a better something out there for you. Okay, so let's actually talk about loving yourself here, because we've got a lot of different people who are talking about loving yourself, and clearly this is a really important topic, and I'm really, really, really glad that I wanted to chat with you all about this today. I also want to say I've had a lot of people comment about routines and about establishing routines, getting back into the world, and what we can do in order to support ourselves and to support our loved ones, and but mostly ourselves. And this is very tied to loving yourself, because I think one of the things that you can do the most when it comes to loving yourself is to put up boundaries for people who are not serving you and are not supporting, loving, making you feel loved and supported. It's really difficult to do, but there's a lot of resources out there. The Mighty, like myself, there's a lot of different organizations out there that are, but I do think that, one of the things when you look at like the spectrum of mental health and you look at different um, that people like that make up our mental health, one of the big things is our environment, and that has to do with not only your physical environment, the things that surrounding yourself physically, but also your social environment, your emotional environment, the people, like the energy that we get from both our surroundings, but also from the so incredibly important. And it's really, really important to make sure that you are curating those um, relationships with people. And this is something that like my sister has actually talked to me about a lot lately is the importance of focusing on on how she can put up boundaries with friends, whatever you need in order to feel loved, supported, and strong in what important, and that is the biggest thing that you can do with self-love is figuring out who loves you and supports you in the way that you need, and to put up boundaries with people um, who do not support that. And I know that it's difficult, but it is something that is really valuable. And I think that sometimes, like, it doesn't have to be, um, it doesn't have to be that you completely kick people out of your life. That's not what a boundary is. It could just saying, um, you know, like I need to now spend less time with someone. Like is incredibly valuable, incredibly important. Um, Marty, so just to clarify, asks me if I was able to go off my meds. So I've actually never been on medication myself. I have a lot of medication. I grew up with a stepsister who was bipolar, who was on medication, um, and I know that the it's just like every other, um, disease that affects our bodies. Sometimes medication is important because, again, it's not for some people, they need medication in order to regulate themselves. And for some people, it really is just that there is a physical chemical imbalance in their brain and they are not able to get to a even level um, without that medication. So, as I said, I've actually never been on medication for anxiety or depression, but I have many friends who have. Um, yeah. Okay. So, interesting. Sheila says, I actually kind of like this. Sheila says, I have a note on your front door, leave your problems outside. I have enough. I think that that's really valuable. Like, if that is something that helps you, again, talk about boundaries, if that's something that helps you put boundaries up and protect the sanctity of your home, I think that that's really, really important and really valuable. So bravo for you, number one, for sharing that, but also for bringing that boundary into your life. I think that's really wonderful. Aang says that they are reading Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. I know Dr. John, like I've heard of them, but I have not read that before. So thank you for bringing that up. So definitely, I think that that's a really wonderful resource. So thank you for sharing. Shaylin, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but they share that I mentally medication relapsed twice before. Right. I thank you so much for sharing that. I think that that's really wonderful. Like, as I said, it's really important to address the fact that sometimes it takes a really long time to figure out exactly what medication works for you and what is going to balance you out the way that you need. So thank you again for sharing that. I think that that's really wonderful, and it gives some people some hope and understanding that it's okay to like try a bunch of different things in order to figure out what is the correct mix for you. Um, and she shares that it took a very long time. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think that this is the thing, is that it's just like it's very important to advocate for yourself and go like, this isn't working for me. Let's try it for a couple months. If it's still not working, I need to try something else. And it's really about figuring out what the perfect concoction is. And that's really, really important. Um, so I want to talk again about loving the dark parts of ourselves, because that's really what I wanted to focus on today. Nancy also shares, just really quick, that she tried 18 different medications before she got the right mix. Again, thank you for sharing that. I think that it's really, really important. And this is why I think the Mighty community is so valuable, because it's so important for us to all see all of these different ways that people are trying different medications and sharing that aspect of themselves. I think that's really valuable. So again, thank you for sharing that. And Brandolyn is we're talking again about boundaries. They share that they had to cut people out of your life and surround yourself with better people. Again, I think that that's sometimes the thing that needs to happen, is that we need to set boundaries in order to protect ourselves, in order to love ourselves, and in order to surround ourselves with people who give us the love that we need and deserve. Okay, so again, let's talk about looking at the dark sides of ourselves and celebrating them, making them beautiful, because I think that it's really important. So I would love for people to share, if they want to, what is something that they think is a not a negative aspect, but like something that they criticize about themselves, that other people, like maybe you talk to a friend and you say like, ugh, I hate this thing about myself. And your friend goes, what are you talking? Is wonderful. And I would love to talk about that specific thing, because I'm not talking, of course, about any sort of nothing that is going to harm yourself or others. I'm talking about things that we overly criticize about ourselves, and figuring out how to love those aspects of ourselves. For example, I was a friend of mine, and we were talking about the idea of being and sharing a like strong point of view when you are, like, if you're in a boss situation, where you are, have to take charge. And this person was discussing about how, like, it's difficult sometimes to do that, to take that charge, because there is the idea that that makes them not nice, that makes them a bad person. And I think that that's like something that is not actually a negative quality. That is just like a something that we don't know how to love about ourselves, and that's like the kind of thing that I want to talk about today. Simra says not being able to say no. That's a wonderful example. I definitely struggle with that as well. Adam also says you've also been diagnosed with body dysmorphia. I mean, this is also again about self-love and not being able to see what other people see, like having a distorted view of ourselves. I think that it's really important to look at those different things about ourselves and write down on a piece of paper what that thing is. So, for example, with this example that I shared before, this discussion that I was having with a friend, I would maybe write down, I think I become mean when I take control. Now, me talking to my friend, I know that that's not 100% the case, that there is no or that's not the core. The core is taking control. And I think that sometimes in society, we think that when you are stepping up and you are being assertive, that is seen as not being nice. And something that my therapist has brought up with me is the idea between, say, being kind and being nice, because you should always be kind, but you do not always have to be nice. And I hope that that makes sense. And this is something that I have found that I think about all the time when I'm in conversations, is The idea that, like, if I need to step up and be assertive, they may not think that I'm being nice, but I'm still treating everyone with respect and kindness and sharing that assertive part of myself because it is necessary in that situation. So I'm always being nice. I mean, I'm always being kind, but I'm not always being nice. I think that that's a really, really important thing. Laura says, I agree with not being able to say no. I practice more I ruminate on my no for so long. I find boundaries really hard. Thank you for sharing that, Laura. I mean, I completely agree. I'm definitely the same. I have a really hard time with saying no, mostly because I feel like I don't want to let people down because um, am I'm a people pleaser. And then the next aspect of that, which makes it even more difficult, and this is something that I'm really working on, is the idea that I get so um, concerned about saying no that I then, if I say yes to something and I actually wanted to say no, then I bully myself for not being able to stand up for myself, and then that's just a never ending loop of negativity around myself. And so one of the things that I've done when it comes to saying no, when it comes to really like being assertive in my own ideas and what I want and what I need is when I make a decision about something, I own it. Even if I later on go, oh man, I didn't actually really want to do that or whatever, I just go, you know what? In the moment, I made that decision. The end. And I try not to beat myself up about it. I try not to go down this spiral of negativity around myself because that does not help. That makes it worse. I think the thing that you can do in that situation is go, hey, in this situation, I actually really didn't want to do that thing. So maybe next time I'm going to try not to. And by writing something down, making notes about the situation and why I didn't want to do it or why I did or whatever, it can really allow me to clearly see the next time if I am going to do something or not. I think that that's really, really valuable. And it's just, again, it's just about checking in with yourself, but also not beating yourself up about the decision. Because again, sometimes we make decisions that our future selves are not happy with. But if our future selves beat up our past selves for a decision that we've made, that makes it even worse. So it's really important to just like own your decision and be like, I'm gonna love this decision that I made because I made it. And that's it. Um uh, so many amazing comments here, everyone. Adam, I love that you say something that is helping me take control is that you have 3 positive affirmations. I love that, and I want to bounce off of that. One of the things that I think is really important, like I was saying, like if you have something like you struggle with being that you feel like you're not nice or that you struggle with being assertive and standing up for yourself in conversations or whatever, I encourage you to write that down. Just say like, I feel like I'm mean when I am, um, like I feel like I am mean when I am in positions of power. Write that down. And then take that piece of paper and try and make that phrase beautiful. Like put like and this really has helped me. It's just like the idea of like, coloring therapy, like in those coloring books. Go ahead and just like put butterflies on it, flowers, whatever you need to do in order to make that phrase beautiful. I think that there's something really special about that because it kind of, I also think that even just like writing something down a little, okay, so this is something that I think about myself. Is that true? That statement actually, now that I physically write it down, doesn't actually seem true. I think that there's something really powerful in just writing down, your negative thoughts about yourself and then just looking at it and being like, maybe that isn't actually um maybe that isn't actually true. Maybe that isn't actually how I feel about things. Um so I want to say that it's really Um, so Susan, I love this. Boundaries with friends. I figured that I needed to trust my decision and that the relationships with my friends are in fact loving and trust. Yeah, absolutely. I think, and again, as I said, like boundaries when it comes to self-love, or self-love when it comes to boundaries is really, really important because the way that other people make us feel is valid. And if people are not making us feel loved, it's really important to then put up boundaries with people so that you are able to love yourself and value yourself a little bit more. Um, Really quick, Andrea, I know that you are sharing so many things, and I really appreciate you sharing of yourself. Say, like the Mighty is a wonderful, organization, but neither the Mighty nor myself are are doctors. And I think that it's really important, and there is so many incredible resources out there, specifically for struggling with suicidal thoughts. And suicide, I just want to say really quick, suicide is something that is stigmatized even more than mental health. And yet, most people um, have struggled with the idea of committing suicide or dying by suicide. That is something that the statistic is huge in the fact that so many people have thought about it. I have thought about it myself. Um, and it is something that is a part of mental health struggle sometimes, but there is always hope. There is always help. And this is where organizations like the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, and so many other incredible people out there are there to assist you, are there to help you. So I strongly encourage you to do that reach out if you can. I think that um, that's really, really valuable, and uh, I am honored that you shared this with us. But there is other organizations out there that are better equipped to assist you. So I would really strongly encourage you to reach out to some of these other um, organizations. Um, okay, so back to self-love. Thank you everyone again for sharing of yourself, for being so open and vulnerable with me. I really strongly appreciate it. Um, and this is something, again, like this is something that this like self-love is something that I struggle with a lot as well. And I think that it's really important um, to it's really important to call out those negative aspects of ourself. I think that's really, really important, um, because again, as I said, like I think that writing those things down, I think that um, like calling out those negative aspects of ourselves just shows that you are addressing different sides. Like self-awareness, I think, is the number one most important thing when it comes to mental health, because the more that we can be aware of our own feelings, the more that we can be aware of situations, of people, of boundaries, all of those kinds of things. I think that that's really, really important to be self-aware and to go. And this is like, specifically from my own experience here. Like I know that when I like if I'm struggling with or if I'm feeling stressed, or if I'm feeling manically happy, or like something, if I feel like I'm not at a base level and I have strong feelings one way or the other because of the work that I've done myself, and because of all of the therapy and all of the work that I've done with mental health over the past few years, I can really now address those aspects of myself and have a self awareness to be like, is this um, like what is the reason behind this, and then what can I do about it? And sometimes I decide that I don't want to do anything. Sometimes if I'm feeling really depressed and I like am laying in bed, then I go, guess what? I don't want to get out of bed. I can't get out of bed. And I am actively making the decision to lean into the depression at that point. And that is just as valuable because sometimes we need to feel our feelings. Sometimes it's important for us to go, I don't feel like I want to be a member of society today in some way. I just want to lay in bed with my dog. That's okay. Um, the importance is the self-awareness and going, this is the thing that I need right now. And I know that tomorrow I'm going to feel better, but right now I just need to do XYZ. I think that's really, really important. Um, Julie, thank you for sharing. She says, I've been struggling a lot lately. I know there's chaos in your life. I'm learning compassion right now. I'm learning to let my feelings in, and it is so hard when they are foreign as they have been buried for so long. Julie, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that that is something that I am really working on myself right now. And I don't know if like this is something that helps me. I don't know if this is necessarily, going to be something that helps you, but I think that it is really important um, to for me to if I'm feeling a feeling or if I'm struggling with a situation or something like that, it's really valuable for me to get other perspectives and to not feel alone and to feel like other people have gone through the same kind of feelings that I'm feeling right now. And that's where conversations like the Mighty, that is where podcasts, videos, YouTube, like there's so many. And that's exactly why I created More Than You See, because sometimes when I feel a certain way in a situation, I'm thinking like, "Oh man, I feel completely alone. No one has ever felt the way that I feel right now." Does anyone else feel like that sometimes? Because I certainly do. I feel like this all the time. I don't I feel like no one is ever gonna feel the way that I feel right now in this situation. And the thing that helps me the most is for me to then find other stories, other podcasts, other resources, books, etc., where I then go, hey, this person actually did feel very similar to the way that I felt. And maybe it doesn't even help me process things, but it does help me feel like I feel more understood and I feel like I'm not alone in that situation. And that for me is incredibly valuable and has been the biggest, most important thing in my own mental health journey. And that's what, More Than You See is really about. So I really, I hear you, Julie. I very much resonate with you. And I think I agree what you said, learning to show up for yourself is a wonderful thing. And absolutely. And sometimes we have to look for outside resources and other people's stories to allow us to show up for ourselves because sometimes we don't know how to show up for ourselves um, without that outside help. And so I think that that's really really important and valuable. Adam, thank you so much for being here. I really really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again. For anyone who hasn't been with me before, I do these talks every other Monday. So today is the 17th, which means that my next conversation will actually be the 31st, which is Memorial Day. I assume that we will still have a Mighty Talk on Memorial Day, and if we do, you will see me at 1 o'clock. So please feel free to come back. I have a different kind of conversation every other Monday, and I really love chatting with you all. Julie, you're loving the Mighty so much. It's such a great community to belong, and you've made such leaps and gains. That's incredible, really wonderful to hear. I know that I am really proud to be, partnered with the Mighty in this way. And I strongly encourage you to check out my podcast and please let me know if anything there resonates with you. I really created the podcast inspired by the Mighty community because every time I did one of these talks, people wanted me to to have more and more conversations. And, unfortunately, there's only one of me. So by doing these podcasts, it really allows people to connect with me every single week in some sense. And I think that that's really important and valuable. Ang says, I would not be here today without the help and support of caseworkers, nurses, doctors, friends, family. Suicidal tendencies are scary. Yes, they are. You got to try to see the good thing. You can do it. Self-love means taking care of your needs spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally. That is really, really wonderful. Thank you, Ang, for sharing that. I mean, that's the thing. This is the thing that I talk about all of the time. Mental health is not just one thing. There are so many different aspects that make up our mental health, and it's really important to take care of all of those different aspects of mental health. And only by doing that will you be able to love yourself and understand yourself on a deeper and deeper level. So thank you for sharing that, Ang. So Patrick, you said, how would I learn more from you? Do you want to clarify? Because I'm a little confused what you mean by that. As I said, yeah, this is my mental health organization. You can find my podcast as well as other resources on there. So please feel free to check all of that out. And I always try to add more and more to that organization, and I am constantly trying to grow it. So I strongly appreciate all of the support and love over there. Julie says, one of your favorites is journaling every Thursday night. That's awesome, Julie. I assume that's something that's organized by the Mighty, and I think that's really, really valuable. Again, I think that it's so, like, those are the kinds of things, when we're going back to the idea of self-love, it's so important to figure out the things that light you up. Figure out the things that make you feel happy and passionate and make you love your life in a tiny way. Sometimes I know that we don't love the life that we're in, but it's really important to find something that makes you happy. I know, and this is something I talk about in the first episode of my podcast. You can listen to it, and it'll explain why I created More Than You See, and it'll kind of give you some backstory around me. But when I created More Than You See, it was because I was going through a really dark time myself. And the thing that brought me joy, which was like a very small thing, but it was something that I started doing every day, which was just walking in the mountains near my mom's house with my dog. Very tiny thing, not like, it was not complicated or grandiose. It was really just a small little thing that I would do every day. And that singular thing pulled me out of my depression. And this was months. Like, I was struggling for a really long time. And this was the thing that finally started to crack the like depressive spiral that I was in, and allowed me to start to climb out of the darkness. And the other thing that really helped me was listening to podcasts and listening to other people's ideas around mental health. And that's why I created More Than You See, because I wanted to, share those things with the greater community. So I think that that's really, wonderful. Julie says forest bathing is a wonderful tool. Ooh, I love that. I love the idea that it's forest bathing. I think that's really fantastic. So we just have a couple more moments left, but I just wanted to encourage everyone to maybe share something else that they like to do in the comments that is a that gives them feelings of self-love and support. So for me, as I said, being outside with my dog, making sure that I am exercising daily, like, those are the things that for me are the absolute most important thing in the world. And so it is key for me to do that. So I'm curious if there's other things that people do to focus on their self-love and to give themselves the like the feelings of happiness and just all the good feelings. So I'm curious what people's thoughts are about that. Let me see, what's another thing? Going to the beach for me is another thing that always makes me feel loved and supported. I absolutely like going to the beach is the thing that brings me happiness more than anything else. Excuse me. Laura says hugging and laughing with your family. Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. And it looks like you love being able to see everyone's pictures. Brandolyn says spending time with your bunny really helps me a lot. Her love is unconditional. Absolutely. I mean, this is, it's like my dog. Best blessing. I don't know where I would be without him. Julie says thinking of butterflies, my weighted blanket, essential oils, walking barefoot in the grass, gardening. It sounds like, nature and like grounding yourself is really important to you, Julie, and it is very important to me as well. So thank you for sharing all of that. Ang says beach and mountains. Absolutely. Your cat, your Charlie cat, your cat, Charlie cat. Oh, I love that. Rick says, can't wait to start a new journal. Your current one began this January. Yeah, very important. I think that's really wonderful. Nancy says you like doing crafts that you can share with others. That's fantastic. Also love that. Mindfulness journaling. Oh, so many amazing things. I love this, you guys. So as I said, please, listen to my podcast, reach out to me on Instagram, More Than You See. Like let me know more things that you do in order to feel, happy and loved and, all of those sorts of things. I think that those are the things that we can do in self-love. It's the tiny little things that we say, like, I'm going to do this today for myself. That's a very big part of self-love, and I love that so many people have shared those wonderful sides of themselves. Julie, mindfulness journaling, you're going to create a vision board. Awesome. I love Julie, just so you know, look at the book Future Boards. It is a book about the idea of creating an actionable vision board. And it's something that I love. It's a book called by Sarah Centrella, I think is her name. And it's a real big book. So I strongly encourage you to check that out. Okay, everyone, but it was wonderful to see you all. I hope to see you again in 2 weeks when I do one of these conversations again. Again, thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you all. And, figure out some way that you can love yourself today and this week. And remember that even though it is Mental Health Month right now, May, Mental Health Month and the importance of focusing on mental health is all the time thing. So figure out how you can support yourself. It's really important to do that. Again, I hope to see you guys in 2 weeks. It was lovely to have a. We'll see you again soon.